I've run into some trouble with my neighbor, and I need some legal advice.
Okay, have a seat and tell me what's going on.
My neighbor drives across part of my property to get to his house. Now, I'm not unreasonable. Before the new highway was built, he really didn't have any other way to get to his property. But now with the new highway, he could just build a new driveway and get direct access to the new road. He doesn't need to cut across my yard anymore, and I want him to stop.
When you say he's been cutting across your yard, are we talking about a driveway across your yard onto his yard?
Yes, that's right.
How long has that been going on?
I don't know. He's lived at his house longer than I lived at mine. I think he had an arrangement with the previous owner, but we've never discussed anything.
Okay, the situation we're talking about is called an easement. That's the technical term for when someone who doesn't own the property has a right to use part of it, usually for a driveway.
Easement. All right.
The rules with easements are pretty fluid. The problem is that once an easement is created, it's difficult to move.
Why is that?
The law is that once an easement is created between owners, it runs with the land.
What does that mean?
It means once created, it goes with the property, no matter who owns it in the future. So your first problem is that even if you don't agree to the easement, the previous owner may have, and in that case, you're bound.
Well, I can't find the previous owner, so how do I know?
How long has your neighbor been using his driveway?
Like I said, he's lived there longer than I have. It's got to be at least 20 years and maybe longer.
That raises another problem. Even if the previous owner didn't agree to create an easement and make it binding for all future owners, there's a law called prescription that says if a person starts using part of someone else's property as a driveway and no one stops him, then after a set period of time, he legally has the right to keep on using it.
How long of a period of time is that?
20 years is probably enough.
But what about the fact that he has direct access from his own property to the new road? I mean, couldn't I force him to use that instead? I could build a fence and block him off.
No, you can't. If you build a fence, you'd be in violation of his right to use the easement, and if he sued you, he'd win. It also won't fly that he now has better access to the road. He can keep on using the old driveway for as long as he wants.
So there's nothing I can do?
You can terminate an easement through agreement.
Trust me, he's not going to agree to anything.
One other possibility is that if he stops using the easement and starts using another driveway to get to the other highway, then the opposite of prescription occurs. If he abandons the easement, you can petition to have the easement removed.
How long would that take?
I'm afraid we're talking about another 20 years or so.
Why isn't this trespass? I mean, he's crossing on my property to get to his. Isn't that trespass?
No. Trespass is the unauthorized entry onto the land by another. He is authorized, so it can't be trespass.
So, I really don't have any alternatives.
You could move.